there, it's Wendy from Ask the Landlady, and I'm here with all the tips and tricks to help you make a profit in real estate rentals. I have a book out. I know if you follow me, I keep shamelessly promoting it, and it is out on Amazon, or go to my website, askthelandlady.com, and it tells you, definitely, here's the tagline: how to avoid my mistakes and be successful in real estate. And it goes through my 20 years worth of mistakes and how I improved upon them or changed them, or hopefully you can just learn from my mistakes so that you can do a better job and make the most profit you can in the real estate business. So check that out. So, much ado about nothing. Let's go on to our question of the day, which is, what are some of your favorite clauses to put into your lease? Besides your name, address, rent, location, late fees, who pays the utilities, all that type of thing. There are several clauses that you might find helpful, that I found helpful to put into your lease. But first of all, let me give you a disclaimer. I am not an attorney. I do not know your ordinances. I don't know your state laws. I don't know what's particular for your area. So I would definitely encourage you always on your lease, even if you've gotten it from a trusted mentor or somebody else in the rental business, run it by an attorney. That's what I did. When I first started out, I inherited properties, inherited leases, and started reading about it and going to conferences, and then I had somebody local look over it and make sure it was okay for my city and for my state, because you don't want to get into any trouble there. So with that disclaimer in mind, let's go on to a few ideas that may work for you. So first clause that I really like, which is clogged sinks and toilets are the responsibility of the tenant. Okay, because you don't want to get a call, oh, my toilet's stuffed up and overflowing. No, in fact, we have given out welcome baskets to tenants before, and the number one thing in it, plunger. Use the plunger we gave you. Try that out, and if it doesn't work, you're going to have to call a plumber, because that is an individual problem that you've created with your toilet. Okay, so that's something that nobody wants to go and take care of, so that's something that they need to work out on their own. Now, if they get into trouble or it's a situation, the other thing you can do is, if you do have maintenance staff or you're willing to go do it, is you go and do it, but you charge for it, okay? Because there are certain issues where you're like, this person's not going to handle it, and it's just going to get it to be an out-of-control situation, but make sure that it is financially on the hook for that tenant, because that is an individual situation that they have created. So we do that with sinks and toilets that get clogs, because that's something that has been created, and usually your plumber can tell you if they put something down there they shouldn't. It gets a little trickier in apartment buildings, and that's something where you can say, if you're starting to have a lot of clogs, then you start to charge everybody for those situations, so that everybody is more cognizant of what they're doing with their drains and such. So the second clause that I really like is that tenants are responsible for all their guests and their behavior. If someone comes to the house and breaks the window, the tenant's on the hook for that window. I am not tracking down their friend to get payment, even though they say, oh, my friend did it. Irrelevant. You're responsible for the home. Tenant is responsible for anything that happens in that household and the behavior of their guests. And this always sets the tone for other dramatic issues that can happen. So definitely, if you buy my book, shameless plug again, then you can get some more ideas on that whole can of worms about monitoring or policing the guest conduct there of your tenants. So number 3, and this may or may not fly in your area, but that is, all maintenance issues under $100 are the responsibility of the tenant. So I know there's some legitimate things that we should take care of as landladies and landlords. It may cost under $100, and we should definitely be doing those, but it's just something in there that tells people, if it's something piddly and little, don't bother calling, because you're not going to come out for something very small and very minor that is not a safety concern, or that you've created maybe just by letting the dog's water bowl sit in that area too long or whatever. That's something that really you should be responsible for. We'll deal with at the end of the lease. It's just kind of taking out some of those things that could cause you a lot of headache over time. So something to consider. Number 4, tenants are responsible for batteries and the smoke detectors. Again, another small item, but it can cost you a lot of money and time. And it's also a little liability issue that they're responsible for that. Battery. I mean, when we go in and out, but we've had people live in some places for years, and when we go to do our seasonal check of furnace filters and such, battery's fine, but then it goes out a month later. It's just too time consuming. You're going to be running, so they can put that battery in themselves. And while you're at it, you might say that about light bulbs and furnace filters as well. That's certainly all about minimizing your time and going to the unit, yet still trying to keep everything taken care of. Especially if this is just your side hustle and you live far from your rental unit. You don't want 45 minutes to go over and put a battery in their smoke detector when that's certainly something they can handle themselves. That's a nice little clause to put in there. Number 5, and this is a good one, tenants need to work out neighbor issues themselves. Because if you're not a social worker, you don't want to do that. You're simply providing a nice, clean, safe place to live. So always push that trauma back on the tenants. And again, I talk a lot more about that in my book, because that seems to be something that just is not part of our job, but seems to keep coming our way, says landladies and landlords. So number 6, tenants must carry insurance on their personal contents and belongings. You want to require renter's insurance. You may even have an insurance agent in town. You can just give them the pamphlet, fill this out, get some insurance. You must have insurance in place. This is going to help you out if something catastrophic happens. There's a fire. You don't want to be responsible for their goods. A refrigerator goes out and somebody's come to me and called and said, oh, my groceries went bad, so you're going to pay for them? No, you have renter's insurance. So go back to your agent and talk to them about that. You need them to have that insurance in place so you can direct them back towards an agent to take care of them with a claim for those types of issues. Somebody comes in and steals their laptop, breaks the window. Call your insurance company. They'll take care of that for you. So that's something that takes that whole situation out of your hands. Number 7 is to have a clear addendum with all the charges that you put into place when the apartment, when they move out and you do your accounting for the security deposit. And we have a very specific list: how much to clean the refrigerator, how much to replace drip pans if they need to be done, what we charge for missing blinds, what we charge for missing light bulbs, all that clearly put out there. And you want to probably update that regularly and put an addendum in there that they know that those charges may go up over time and of their lease, because then it's just going to make things easier if you do have to take them to court, and when you go to do your accounting for the security deposit. They've signed off on it. They're aware that if they don't wipe out that refrigerator, it's going to be $45, per se. Those are the things that you want to have clearly outlined out there. So what's your favorite lease clause? That's just 7 of mine off the top of my head. I have a lot more in the book. But shoot me down in the comments. I'd love to hear what things you put in your leases that maybe help you get out of trouble. And speaking of which, if you want my list of those charges or the lease or whatever, go over to my website, askthelandlady.com. I sell my package of forms for just $19.95. It's just what's worked for me that might be able to help you out, because again, we're all in this together. It's not easy to be a landlady or a landlord. And ultimately, at the end of the day, we all want to do great. We all want to make as much profit as possible. So thanks, and have a great day.